In what has come in as a huge relief for Gautam Adani and the Adani Group, the Supreme Court has finally pronounced the verdict in the Adani-Hindenburg case today. The Supreme Court has rejected key demands of the petitioners that the probe into the case be transferred to CBI or to NSIT. Supreme Court has held that there is no ground to transfer the Adani-Hindenburg case investigation to an external body apart from SEBI. The Supreme Court refused to allow the probe by a special investigation team into the allegations against the Adani Group following the report by Hindenburg Research a year ago too. Now, secondly, the Supreme Court has said that there is no room to doubt the fairness of SEBI's probe into the allegations. Thirdly, Supreme Court has said that SEBI will take the investigation to a logical conclusion. SEBI has already completed investigation in 22 matters out of the 24 matters that have been under probe. And with that, SEBI has also been directed by the Supreme Court to complete the rest of the two probes within the 3 months as well. Now, that's as far as the indication to SEBI is concerned. The other important point in the verdict came out was that the reliance on OCCRP report is also rejected. The bench has also said that the third-party reports cannot be treated as conclusive proof and that there is no conflict of case of conflict of interest made out as well. So, the Supreme Court has held that the investigative reports by press or by newspapers, independent agencies can act as inputs for SEBI, but they cannot be taken as credible evidence or a proof of regulatory failure by SEBI, and it cannot cast a doubt on the investigation being carried on by a statutory body. The next important point that came out in the verdict today was that there is no case made out on the FPI regulations that they were diluted. The apex court has said that there was no ground made out to quash the FPI regulations, which resulted in the sharp decline in the share prices of Adani Group stocks earlier. They've also mentioned that no valid ground is there raised to revoke the amendment to FPI or LODR recommendations. There is no, the Supreme Court Chief Justice of India also said that no case made out that the FPI regulations were diluted to allow mischief. This is what Justice Chandrachud had said while reading out the order today. Also, the Supreme Court has now directed SEBI to look for any infractions by the US-based short seller Hindenburg. The apex court has ordered the government, the centre and the SEBI to now investigate whether Hindenburg report on short selling violates any laws, and if so, then they have been asked to take any appropriate legal action against Hindenburg. Now, the top court's verdict comes after a month that it reserved the judgment in the month of November on a batch of petitions regarding the allegations of stock price manipulation by the Adani Group stocks. And following the Supreme Court verdict now, Adani Group chairman posted on X, formerly Twitter, in today's trading session. We did see him taking to Twitter to announce the Honorable Supreme Court's judgment shows that truth has prevailed. He also said, Satyamev Jayate. He also mentioned, and I quote, "I am grateful to those who stood by us," unquote. He further wrote that the group's humble contribution to India's growth story will continue even going forward. As far as the stock market reaction to the verdict is concerned, share prices of Adani Group companies trimmed the gains in the afternoon trade. They were seen rallying up to 15–16% intraday ahead of the verdict. But once the verdict came out, there was some volatility, and of course profits were taken off at the higher levels as well, even as the Supreme Court disposed of the petitions filed on the Hindenburg issue to initiate an SIT or a CBI probe into the case. Now, while the stocks cooled off from the day's high, they've definitely held on to gains of up to 7% even in the latter half of the trading session. Now, the overall market capitalization of Adani Group stocks is also back above the 15 lakh crore rupees mark, but it does remain significantly below the peak of 23 lakh crore rupees. However, the overall market cap has nearly tripled off the record low that was seen after the report had come out back in the year 2023 in January of about 5.8 lakh crore rupees that it had hit during the Hindenburg saga. Now, what do the experts say after this verdict has come out? Experts believe that this will be the end to the saga that began with Hindenburg report in January of 2023 that leveled a series of charges on the Indian conglomerate controlled by billionaire Gautam Adani. We've also had Gopal Jain, a senior lawyer at India's Supreme Court, mention as a reaction to what the Supreme Court verdict has come out. He said that this is an affirmation that our regulatory bodies are robust, they are vigilant and they're active. They have also clearly said that there is no need to revoke any approvals that were given earlier. That also brings the matter to a halt or a close. These things have to be taken with a logical conclusion. He also mentioned that if anything is left, the regulatory body will now carry out an inquiry and take the process to its end going forward from here. So this is what today's Supreme Court's verdict on the Adani-Hindenburg case has been. I hope this gives you enough clarity as to what the case verdict was and what its impact has been on both the stock market prices of Adani Group and how are experts really taking to the verdict as well and talking about it too. Even most of our experts who we've been talking to since morning, they are positive on a few of the stocks that they had been holding on despite the corrections because of the fundamentally strong balance sheets that some of the group stocks continue to have. With that, we will wrap up this special edition, but do stay tuned as Business Today will continue to give you all the information regarding business news and updates on the stock market. So stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Tech Today. In fact, this is a very